Hi artists, and welcome to Unwind Design. My name is Kimberly. I'm your instructor for today. So starting first with what we have in front of us, we have an 11 by 14 size canvas, long waist. We also have a fan. We are going to be painting this, painting in layers from back to the front, from the background to the foreground. So if you have a fan, some kind of a cardboard, a book, or if you have an outline nearby, a hair dryer, it makes this process go by a lot faster. So if you guys have any of these, anyone will do, okay? So next we have our towel for our brushes. We have a container of water for our brushes, okay? And we have some water. We have our brushes being our large background brush, medium square brush, it's around a size 8. Round tip is also around a size 8 round tip brush that comes to a point, and the detail brush. So this is what I'm going to be calling out as I move from step to step, okay? Background, square, round tip, detail. Okay, so next we have the colors that we have in front of us, okay? The colors that we have are our light and darker colors, which are our white and our black. Okay, our highlighter and our shadow. Next, we have our primary colors, our blue, red, and yellow. And then we have our extra color, which is our brown. Okay, so starting off, we're going to be grabbing our background brush, and I want you guys to pay attention to the fact that your background brush is kind of like a sponge, so it's going to soak in all that water, and the moment you squeeze, it's going to release it. So you need to make sure that you use the little hairs on your brush to make sure that it's very, very well blended into your paint. I want you to pay attention though. If you feel that your paint is a little too runny and watery and kind of see-throughy, go and add more paint, okay? That's the sign that you need more paint. If you find that your paint is still sticky like it is right now, and it's kind of like toothpaste and you're wasting a lot of it and it's sticky and gross, that means that you need a little bit more water. So I want you guys to just kind of pay attention to the way that your paint is moving. Is it sticking? Is it rough? Is it soft? Is it see-through? And that way you can kind of get the hang of what it feels like to paint with the type of paint that we need to achieve the painting we're trying to do today. Okay, so we're grabbing our big brush. We're dipping it into our water and making sure that it gets nice and hydrated, nice and soft. Tapping it dry a little bit on the ledge. Then I'm coming in and I'm picking up some of this white. I am mixing my water in the corner of my white. Whenever I paint, I like to paint on the sides of my colors. In case I want to use a little bit more later, I don't dirty all of it. Okay, so I'm coming with some of that white. And we're going to start right here in the corner. We're going to be creating an aura of light coming down from the moon into the night sky with our ballerina below on our bottom left corner. Okay, so we're starting off with our white, making these lines. Okay. Adding a little bit, prepping it for when I come in with my yellow. And I'm going to grab a tiny, tiny little droplet. Okay, see that? You can't even see it that much. It's like a little drop of brown into my white. And look, it makes a little bit of a difference. It starts to make it look a little pink. See that? A little dark. So we're adding some of that brown. And I'm going to add a little tiny drop, again, of yellow. See that? That's not a lot at all. So then I'm making kind of like a shadowy yellow. Okay, again, a little drop of brown into the white and a little bit of yellow. And we start to get a very nice creamy white. Okay, so we're coming in with this yellow and we're starting to make a little bit of an aura coming downwards from the top corner down. Okay, so we're making that aura with a little bit of that yellow. Come back, maybe a little more of that brown in there. Let's see what we get into that light yellow. There we go. We're starting to get a little bit more of a shadow. Okay, so we're adding a little bit of that light brown. Come back with a little bit more light brown. And we're starting to add, this needs a little bit more yellow. It got a little too dark. There we go. And we're starting to look like we have a little bit of a shadow coming down. I am now using my brush long ways instead of flat, making a big thick line. I'm making little thin lines with my brush by brushing like this long ways. Okay, I'm coming in with some more of that white. Coming back down, starting to kind of spread it out a little bit more. Okay, I'm starting to leave some gaps in between. It's starting to look like ripples. Okay, here we go. Now we're adding this line. We're adding some of that light brown, bringing it down. Notice I'm coming right towards the middle. I am not going on the sides yet. I'm going to start to merge now onto my top left section. Coming in with some of that cream as well. Okay, you don't want it to be too yellow. You do want it to be a mixture of that light brown and white color. Okay, so next we're going to wash off our brush. Don't forget this color mixture. We're going to end up using it again a little bit later, okay? So we're going to come in now with a tiny drop of blue, and we're going to mix it into the other corner of our white. I'm going all around my white here. So I'm sticking to this corner now, and I'm coming in with this very light blue, and while my paint is still wet, coming with a little bit more white in there. I'm coming in and I'm going to start to sort of blend it into part of this yellow too. Okay, so this paint should still be wet. I'm going very lightly over it, which means that my color is blending with the light color a little bit. So the reason we don't want our sky to be too yellow, remember I told you we wanted to be a little bit more white than yellow, is because if you mix this blue with that yellow, you're going to end up getting a green color in your sky. And we don't want that. We're not looking for a green. We want to keep a blue, and we want to keep a cream whitish color in our sky. Okay. So see, we're starting to add some of that baby blue there. Let me see if you guys can see it a little better. There we go. So we're starting to add a little bit of this baby blue, very light in between. Okay, and then we're going to come back and grab a little bit more blue. And we're going to start to increase little by little how dark our color is, okay? So the darkness of the color, here we go. Remember to leave plenty of that peach in there. Go over some of the blue. Don't go over some of the yellow anymore, or some of the cream color. Okay, we're coming in from the edges, from the corners. We want it to be a little bit darker, more towards the corners. Come back with a little bit more of that blue. Nice and thick now, you see that? Starting to take over the sky a little bit. It's taking over the sky in the middle as well. Again, make sure that your paint is nice and creamy. It's the only way that you're going to get a very smooth transition if your paint is nice and soft. And by soft, I do not mean watery, okay? So make sure you remember that. I did not say watery, I said soft. So we want it creamy, okay? We don't want it like a puddle. We want it like sour cream thick on our chips. See, we're starting to get more of a night sky here. So we're coming in with a little bit more of that dark blue. And we're starting to comb it in. We're starting to fill this section in with more of that dark blue in there. You start to see this effect. This is a waffling effect. This is really pretty to use a little bit later, okay? It's when your paint is very dry and you're barely using whatever's left over on your brush, you start to get this effect. So that's going to be a really nice effect later if we use it with our white. But right now, we're not trying to do that. We're trying to get it nice and thick first. So we're making sure to get enough water and add that on there. That's what that's letting us know. You need more water, okay? But it's really interesting that even though it's a clue to let you know what your paint needs, you can also use it to get special effects on your art. Okay, so we're coming in. And you're gonna see that I'm gonna continue to add this blue. Eventually, I'm gonna start to add a little bit of black into my blue. And that's gonna be my very dark blue in the bottom. You see that, how it's starting to get darker? That's my dark blue with my normal blue. So I'm gonna put on the side of my blue, pick up a little bit of water, and I'm gonna mix black into my blue. Okay, and I'm gonna add that black and blue closer to the bottom. And we're gonna be mixing this color with our normal blue that we don't mix with anything. See how light that is? Okay, and that's what we're gonna do closer to the end. It's gonna go darker, darker, darker until it gets practically black around here. Okay, so while our paint is nice and dry, we are going to be coming back, but this time with our round tip brush, and we're gonna be making that same white color we made earlier. So we're coming in with our round tip, adding some water to our white. We're adding a little drop of brown to our white, and we're mixing some yellow into our white. Okay, so we're trying to make it a cream color, remember that. So if it's too yellow, add a little bit more brown. If it's too dark, add a little bit more white. And there we go. We start to get that very nice mixture that we're looking for. It's a nice creamy color. Okay. And we're gonna start leaving a little bit more of a highlight again. Make sure you don't have too much paint. Okay, make sure your brush is kind of scratching the canvas a little bit. We do want to get a scratchy look on there. Okay, let's pick up a little bit more white as we're doing that. We can add a little bit of white over some of this color again if we want it to stand out a little bit. We can start to shape it a little bit more even. We can start to shape it kind of like if this is the moon. I'm adding making it a little bit lighter at the top, and then I'm keeping it a little bit darker as I work my way lower. Okay, so we're coming back with a little bit more white. Okay, and we're gonna start to move our light more towards this top section now. We're no longer gonna work it down as much. We're gonna have it sort of radiating over here, a little bit more of that cream, scratching in towards this way. Okay, it's really brightening up the section. Okay, I'm barely even touching my canvas. If you look at my lines, they are very, very light. See my lines? I'm barely even touching my canvas there. So I'm just letting the little hairs and whatever paint is left over in my brush scrape over the top. And that's how I'm creating this effect. And I'm being very like relaxed about it. You know, I'm not freaking out about where I'm placing it. I'm just kind of swiping it back and forth, up and off of the canvas, and just moving my hand as I'm continuing that motion without stressing about where I'm putting these this highlight at. Okay, as I start going a little bit higher over here, I am going to make it just a little bit. There we go. Another color I'm going to add is going to be a drop of red and a little drop of blue. Okay, very small. And then I'm going to add some white to that. What I'm trying to do now is make a lavender. So what is a lavender color? A lavender is a very light purple. Okay, so I'm trying to make that light purple with a little bit of blue and a drop of red at a time. See, I'm not using a lot. There we go. So I start to get a little lavender color right there. See that? That's lavender. So I'm coming in with that lavender. And I'm getting it nice and light. And then I'm coming in and also adding it into my sky. If you pay attention to the painting, you think that all you see there are blues, but we actually have some lavender. This lavender is actually like shade. In paintings, very hardly do you use black for shadows. You usually end up using purples or blues for shadows. You use red for highlight. You know, when you're doing like realistic pictures of people. Okay, so we're coming in with this light color. See, and I just added a little bit of that into my sky, and it added so much diversity. I mean, it makes it look so much more varied. It looks so pretty. I like it a lot. So you're gonna come in with that color and you're gonna start playing with it all the way down. Okay, so again, just as a reminder, make sure that you do get plenty of this light color and you make it nice and light over here. We're gonna be putting our ballerina in this section. So you wanna make sure that this is light enough so that you can still see our ballerina. Okay, so one thing that you can do, just as a tip, is you can come in with a good amount of water, make it just a little bit see-through. And you can go in there with very watery white. And when it dries, it's going to dry a lot lighter, but you'll still leave that shadowy effect right there. You know, so it's still very, very nice. It's still very practical without being too much. Okay, so remember, this is where our ballerina body is going to be at most. We're going to be drawing our ballerina right now. So we are going to be drawing on this half. So it's going to be, imagine you're cutting your canvas in half. Okay, and we are going to be painting above this section, above the top half of our canvas, our design on our white part. So we're going to take all this area that we made nice and white, and this is where we're going to go in and paint in our character. So you guys have to pay close attention to this. I'm going to zoom it in. Our character is going to be very detailed. From here, we're going to go in and make the dress all big in the bottom. So we're going to stick to this top part right here. And we are going to be using our detail brush. I'm going to show you guys how to form this body starting from the beginning. We're going to be doing the arm, we're going to be doing the head, we're going to be doing all of that. Okay, so again, you're going to be using your detail brush. Okay. So we're going to be picking up first a little bit of a light gray. We're going to pick up a little bit of black, just a little bit of white. This is going to take us a good amount of time because it is the most detailed part. So we need to make sure that we get it right. So we're going to start off first drawing out our body, okay? So our body, again, we're using half of our canvas, and we are going to come in and make a straight line like that. From here, we're going to go down and we're going to curve it a little bit. See that? Okay. Okay. Then from here, you're going to bring it down a little bit. At the other end, we're going to make a little line and we're going to just curve it. You see this? We're curving that section. So you may not get it yet, but this is the torso that we're drawing right here. So this is the chest area, this is the stomach, and this is the shoulders. And what we're going to do in drawing, you call this gesture drawing. You're just drawing the movement, okay? So we're going to make a very quick drawing. We're going to bring our hand straight up. Okay, that's one hand. On the other side, we're going to bring it straight up. And we're going to bring it to the side, and that's our other hand. Okay, I know it's not making sense yet. It will. Okay. So we're going to grab a little bit of the yellow with brown and put it into our white. Okay, yellow with brown, putting it into our white. And we're going to start to paint over this arm section. So we're bringing it in. We're going to do the same on the other side. We're adding some of that tan. And we're going to bring it in a little bit there. And then we're going to paint this section in the middle with it too. So we're practically drawing just kind of like a little V in the chest area. Okay. This right here, we're going to start to make a little bit of a line. We're going to start going up and we're going to start forming the head there. So the head is going to be facing that way. It's going to be inclining towards the top corner. Okay. Okay, and we're going to do a little bit of an outline. So there you go. You're making a little outline for the face. Okay. You start to kind of curve it a little bit. Okay. So we get a little face. This right here is our chin. Okay, so again, I am going to take it nice and slow. So look, pay attention to our shape, okay? We're painting above that. Okay. The side of the face. And then as we start to go towards the back, we start to grab a little bit more black, okay? So we're grabbing a little bit of a gray. And then I'm starting to make the back lines. With black. So before you know it, you have the head shaped here. So here's the thing with this. Here you have a shadow section in the back. This is her back of her head. And this is the bun in back of her head right here. So this is her bun. This is the back of her head. Starting in with a little bit of black. Starting to kind of work it in towards the back. We're going to start to fill in this shadow, and then we're going to fill in underneath the arms as well. Okay, so I'm making a line coming down right in the middle. I have some black that's going that way. I'm going to add another little line on the side. That's going to be the neck turning towards the right. Then as I'm starting to go closer to the face, I'm going to start to add a little bit more white so that I can fade it into a gray. You see that? So we're starting to make it a little bit lighter. Okay, and now I'm starting to fill in that tan on the face, starting to bring it a little bit more in towards the gray. And I'm gonna start to work the gray back into the face. And we're starting to get this blended look right here on the side of the head. See, so now we're starting to outline this character. Get a little bit more of this black, make it a little bit more intense. Okay, we're gonna start to get a little bit more yellow and white, and we're gonna start to go off towards the side of the face. And we're gonna make it seem as if the highlight is hitting her by picking up a little bit of white and outlining the side of her face there. I'm adding a little bit of that white on the side of her shoulder. I'm adding a little bit of this tan going up the side of her neck a little bit. Okay, I'm still going to give you guys some time to keep working on that face, don't worry. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a little bit more time. Take your time with the face until you feel that it's right. I am also going to be adding, if you guys notice, I'm going to be adding some eyelashes right here, and that's going to take this face to the whole, to like a whole nother level, okay? Here we go. We're starting to add some of this shadow. We might have to let it dry a little bit so we can continue to add more details. We can do that a little bit more towards the end. Okay, we do want this side of the profile to shine a little bit more. So we don't want to take too much of that space. We do want to make it look as if the highlight is coming all the way towards the top up here. We don't want it to be limited to this section. To the bottom, it'll make the face look a lot more squished in. You want to go a little bit up. We're making our cheek here, coming in underneath the jaw. I'm adding a line straight down, coming back up with a little bit of a highlight for the jugular area. Okay, again, on the throat. Then we're adding a little part of the armpit down here. And notice that when I was working with the arm, I added a little bit of a thicker shoulder section. So our neck and our arm are very close together. Okay, our neck ends right here, and then our arm goes straight down. And then we start to curve up to get the shoulder a little bit. We don't get too much of it, just a tiny little bump, and then we start to pull up. Okay, pull it in, and then you're gonna go back up again. This is where your elbow is gonna be at, where you start to see it kind of dip in and then go up. This is where your elbow's at right there. So I'm just gonna go in and blend it in again. Pull it all the way out, straighten the palm, and then we're just pulling it. Okay, so that's the top of that hand. And we can make that just a little bit thicker, make it come out of the side. This is the chest area. This is the dress she's wearing. We're gonna make it just a little bit bigger so it looks like it's coming out of the shoulder there, out of the armpit. So our hand here looks like a little bit of a diamond. So we're doing an arch, a diamond, and then the hand points out. Let me show you a little bit with the brown again. You do a little arch, you make a diamond on top, and then you just bring it out a little bit more. And you got yourself the fingers there and the palm of your hand pointing down. Okay. So then here, I'm gonna grab that light yellow and white again, and I'm gonna start to bring in or bring out my arm. I'm bringing it a little bit higher. Bringing it up, I'm starting to form it now. And up here, I'm gonna go up a little bit higher than I did originally. Right up on top of here, I'm gonna just bend it in. And here's this hand. Beautiful. I never got to add those eyelashes, so I'm coming back with my detail brush, and I'm gonna add a couple of eyelashes here. Okay, hopefully that makes her stand out a little bit more. Okay, and next we're gonna come in with our black again. So we are picking up our black, adding some water to it on our round tip brush. And we are gonna go underneath this hand and we're gonna start to draw the shadows in of this hand. So we're gonna pull it in. And then down here, it's gonna start to curve a little bit. See that? We're starting to do the waist now. We're gonna curve underneath the armpit as well a little bit. Right here on this section, we're gonna pick up a little bit of blue and white. It's okay if you still have black in your brush. That's intended. Okay, so some blue, some black, and some white. And we're gonna start to just dab it here. It's a little dark. We want it to be dark. We're starting to add some details of the dress to her chest. Okay, so you do want it to be a little bit more black, like to be barely being able to show that we have that there. And we're only putting it in this section. Coming back with a little bit more of that navy blue. I'm gonna add some navy blue up here. I'm adding a shadow to the front area of the dress. This right here is gonna be where the dress goes a little bit up. It makes kind of like a V. And then it goes behind this arm like that. See that? From here, if you want to make the dress stand out, You just come back with a little bit of more white. And you can start kind of just adding a little bit of white. That way you can start telling more or less where the dress is. Here I'm just kind of dabbing it. Remember, we do want to have our colors mixed. It's not going to be super pale like it is right now. We do want to make it just a little bit darker. Okay. So then below the arms of the ballerina, okay, below the arms, we're adding some black. So we need to add some black to this arm as well. We're going to come in on the section where we are going right from the armpit towards the top. So we're going right on that section, the armpit section, and we're starting to drag it up. Leave a little bit of that light color inside on the corners, okay? You don't want to fill in all of it with that black. I'm going to come here, make it a little bit thinner. And then as you go out, it's going to get thinner and thinner. And then right here, we're just going to curve the hand a little bit. And then making it look like she's got several fingers out there. I'm going to work on some shadows and let you guys sort of follow along or work on your own. Okay, so now starting to work on the dress. We're going to be grabbing our round tip brush and we're just going to grab a little bit of a dark gray. So black with white to make a dark gray, and we're going to start just patting it on the inside of the outfit. That's going to make it look as if we have some lace right there. We're also going to just pull it up the bra a little bit, up the shoulder straps. We're going to come in with a little bit of that white. Okay, we're coming in with a little bit of that blue, kind of dabbing it inside as well. And then we're going to go in with some plain black, just kind of shaping it, also adding some dabs so that it looks like more of a shadow. Grabbing a little bit of that white and yellow. Same brush, make sure that you wash it off. Now that we could see our ballerina a little bit more, we are going to start to arch her back a little bit more. And we are going to start to open it up for the dress to come out. So we're bringing it out a little bit. And in the front, we're picking up a little bit of that white. And we're starting to kind of pull it outwards so that all this becomes a dress. So once we start to get towards the bottom, we're going to start to play with our colors, and this is where the fun part begins. So you can do multiple things. You can use your round tip brush. Just take into consideration that your round tip is going to get a little fluffy. So if you have a nicer one, try to use your older one. Next, if you do want to use maybe one of these brushes, you could use the textured one, or you could use a fluffy round tip brush, okay? I'm going to be doing a little bit of both just to show you guys what the colors are going to be looking like, okay? So first, I'm going to be picking up my round tip brush. So the colors we're going to be starting with first over here are going to be red. I'm going to be yellow and white. So we're going to start off with some yellow. Oh, I got to make sure my brush is nice and available for that. And I'm going to dip it in my white too. So I have two colors right here. And I'm going to start to dab them, okay? And the point of this is that the colors really, really stand out. Okay, we're going in with some of that yellow, and we're going to come in with some of that white. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this section if you guys want to follow along. We're going to go from yellow to red to a little bit of a pink, purple, and a blue towards the left. So now I'm playing a little bit with my pink. I am going to add some pinks into my white. I'm going back and forth with these colors, by the way. So if I added yellow, I'm going to come back and just add a little bit more yellow into this section as well. Okay, I want to make sure that my colors are looking like they're transitioning, but at the same time, part of the same dress. Okay, so I'm coming in with my pink. Okay, so I'm going in, playing with some of that pink. Next, I'm going to come in and I'm going to grab some of this red. I'm going to make it a little bit bolder. Okay. Next, let's try playing with some blue. So let's mix some blue and red together. Let's see what we get. And we start getting our darker purples. So we're going to go in there. There we go. And we're starting to get our darker colors now. Mixing that blue and red, we're starting to use our purple. And we're mixing that one underneath too. That one's going towards the bottom. Okay, right here at the end, we're going to start to play with a little bit more blue. And for the blue to stand out, we're going to be using some white. So pick up both your blue and your white. Next, you can also add a little bit of black to your red. So you can have more of a brick red. And that's also a very pretty color to add around here. Make sure you mix your colors well. Don't forget to come in towards the left and add a little bit more of that red. You can even come in and put it towards the black, kind of flowy. Come in with a decent amount of that red. You can even come in with some of that yellow orange that you had. And let's kind of mix that over here as well. Right. And then finally, you want to grab maybe some of this burgundy, mix it over here on the right. This really deep purple we used. Okay, you can use some of those bright oranges again. Make it stand out a little bit in between the dark. Look at how pretty those colors are getting mixed together. It's our red, our oranges. We're going back and forth, and we're not mixing them. We're layering them on top of each other. See that? I'm not trying to go in there and blend them. I'm just tapping them all together. So the final color we're going to be using on this is going to be our white. So we're going to come in with our round tip brush, and we're just going to go around. Let's dab it so we don't have so much of it, and it can mix with some of the colors that are already there. Okay, so I'm picking up a little bit more. Okay, I don't want my brush to have too much. I just want to leave a very, very light highlight of that white on there. Let's add some highlights back here. Make it stand out a little bit more. Let's have some of these highlights outside in the back of the skirt flowing. Okay, and down here, you're going to start to pick up a little bit of black, and we're going to start to use our black to kind of fade the back corner of the dress. Okay, if you don't want to use black and you want to keep it nice and colorful, you can go ahead and do that. I'm going to add a little bit of black down here just to make it a little bit darker. Coming back with a little bit more blue and white. I loved how that blue and white looked. So I'm going to add a little bit more over here. And you know what? I'm going to come with some of that blue and white. I'm going to add it down here as well. Okay. So then the final thing that we have left to do is to come in and pick up our detail brush. Pick up your white. And on the right-hand side, put in your signature. If you want to add a final detail, you could go in with a little bit more of that cream and white color that we did originally. And behind the hair, behind the head, you can scratch on a little bit of that lighter color, and it'll look as if she has lighter hair flowing to the back there. So that's just a quick little tip. If any of you wanted to add some hair in the back, you could do it that way. If she had darker hair, you can do it with black. If she had more of a purple hair, you can do it with a little bit of a purple. See, and you start to create the halo effect that you want for the hair. Okay, see that? Okay, well, that's just a little extra. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me in today's class. Hopefully, you guys can enjoy some other of our videos, check out www.unwindanddesign.org for more information. Thanks, guys, and see you soon.